It's another episode of NRG Insights. For those that don't know, we speak to influential people across the market of the whole of financial services, whether that be bridging, resi, broking, commercial, or ancillary products that kind of assist us in the market.
All our clients are bank customers. They need service when they need something doing quickly, and we are all over that. So yeah, and there's other bits that come into that. So we are tech focused, we're tech enabled. The market knows that our tech has all been built in-house. We don't buy off the shelf products. So we're tech powered, but what we don't do is we don't make the customer efficient. We make the back office and the operational processes super slick and efficient, but actually the customer, there's significant human contact there, and that's what they like. So we don't ask the customers to constantly fill out lots of forms and follow all these processes, and they don't ring us and press option 1 or option 2. That's not what we're about. We run a really slick, efficient process in the background, but actually their journey is very, very human focused, and that's where we see the difference going forward.
Do you know what? I think that's so important as well. I know we talk about AI here, on AI and tech, etc., but a lot of it's like a tech for tech's sake, but we're the same. All our back office is done now, so we need less people to do the same amount of jobs, but we have the same amount of people that are speaking to people every day.
Yeah.
Because that's the important bit, right? And also that's what people want from us and from you. They want that human interaction, but the slickness and the processes, the reason we can do it is because of the tech in the background, as opposed to some completely tech-driven platforms that have lost that human touch.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do think it's ironic actually when I see some of those tech platforms where they say they don't use anyone. It's a little bit like the robo advice things. It turned out there's like 50 brokers sat in a room, and that's how you make robo advice. So it's completely. I don't think we can lose that human side. I think it's some of the tech is a little bit smoke and mirrors when it comes to not having that human interaction. I think there's quite a bit in the background.
Yeah, and that human interaction is required more than ever now, right? And bridging is certainly going to become more and more specialist, and that's certainly how we positioned ourselves. So, the run-of-the-mill bridging will be tech-enabled in 3 or 4 years' time. And I sit on the AI committee at SDK on a weekly basis, and the improvements that we're making through AI are just phenomenal, and the power of it is incredible. And we all know that, right? It's just embracing it. But it's actually giving the confidence to the customer at speed. And SDK, we really have a great group of people that are technically phenomenal. So we even have, in-house legal at SDK. And the reason for that is that technical ability that's provided at speed gives surety to the customer that we know what we're doing, which in their own mind means that the funds will actually be delivered. And yet, look, we don't.
Take 3 days to get back to
Well, exactly. No, absolutely. Yeah, and we don't do everything, and we don't try and do everything. And by staying in your lane, and we certainly stay in our lane, and we're very good at what we do, the customers.
What is your lane out of interest? What's your kind of niche? Which obviously on the service side and the customer side, but in regards to the kind of the products that you offer, where's your sweet spot in the market?
So a lot of our customers will come to us for perceived complex deals, and where speed is required. So of course, we do lots of residential bridging, and that's pretty straightforward. But where you've got a complexity, or you've got something where you need high technical experience right at the start to structure a deal, that's kind of where we sit. But what we don't do is ground up development. We don't like land. We're very clear on commercial that what we do and what we won't do. So it's almost sometimes easier to talk about what you don't do because it's smaller. But we don't lend on petrol stations. We don't lend against care homes, and we're very clear on that. But when it comes to other types of commercial, we're very slick.
Done all the quotes, and you're like, yeah, I like the sound of them. I'd want to speak to someone. It's like how much of your life is I'm on the phone to Sky and I'm on hold and I'm dealing with a bank, and there's enough of that crap already. You have money to fund your business, to grow your business, to make feed your family. I'd want to meet someone, to be honest. I want to sit around a table with them. We'll go for a coffee or what have you.
It's honestly the partnership, isn't it? And I know it sounds cheesy, but it's the same as in our business. Like, imagine just never ever speaking to the person that you're doing. It's so important. Yep. You're a big part of each other's lives for a short space of time.
Yeah.
It seems mad that it would just be done by the computer.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we've got our retention rate is now close to 49%, which means that almost half of all our borrowers, come back to us again.
Come back.
Yeah.
That is the other benefit of dev as well, isn't it? Is that they do it for a living.
Yeah. That's
You know, like it's not like your mortgage. It's not going to come back in 5 years' time.
yeah, that's true. And again, I had it was 2 weeks ago. We'd signed up a new loan in Finchley in North London. The borrowers came in to our office because it's local, and they said, "Oh yeah, you know, we had cheaper offers. We just really liked the BDM and the sales approach." And
and also, and you can deliver. We touched on this earlier on, but your BDM can't just be amazing and your product be shit. Like you have to be able to deliver, but there's just those two aspects, isn't it? Because it's not about pounds and pence with dev, the same as it's not about pounds and pence with most commercial. It's about wanting to work with the person and actually then being able to do it, because you can have the best rate in the world, can't you? But if you can't get it done,
yeah, exactly. And that's that's why I think look at the kind of the big bridging lenders that have done really well and have scaled quite a lot. They've done well for being consistent. I think more than anything else, from actually showing that they could deliver.
Yeah, but they had to do that when they started, didn't they?
Correct, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Correct.
Once you scaled, it's. I mean, it gets tougher when you scale, doesn't it? Because then you do lose kind of track.
There's different problems, and then you've got 100 staff, and it's all the fun of that.
Sort of basic principles are quite important. It's not just it's what I tried to explain to my sales team, or our underwriting team, or anybody, to pick up the phone. We've all got so used to what I call keyboard warriors. You tell him from me this, that, and the other. Normally, if you pick up the phone and say to somebody, "Hey, how's it going? How's your day going?" Then they appreciate the call. Give them the time, talk it through. You can fast track a lot of the nonsense by just communicating. I think communication is key.
I always find as well that you're not. If you send someone an email, you're not going to pick up any extra information. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just that email, isn't it? And then they're just going to answer that email.
Yeah.
You pick up the phone every time instead of email someone. I always pick up something extra. I always find a little bit we hadn't thought about before, another variable we haven't taken into account. It's it's super important. But you're right about.
I think an email should be for clarifying something that was said. Putting it down in writing. Whereas I didn't say that on the phone. Yes, you did. I sent you an email 5 minutes after and said, "This is what we agreed," and you came back to me and said, "Confirmed." Not for building relationships.
Otherwise, that should be said.
Yeah, it's not for build. You can't build a relationship over email at all.
How'd you get that? Actually, I know obviously you've got different generations in the business and that kind of thing. How are you finding the shift in the way people communicate as well? Because I feel like a bit of a dinosaur, and I'm going get on the phone, or go out and see people. But actually, some of the newer people, say new clients, for instance, from a younger generation, don't that's how they converse with each other, is through messaging or whatever. It's How do you manage that? Because there's 3 generations at work at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I think you have to. I think what I've found the more I've dug into it is that it's about different mentalities rather than different generations. So I've now, talking about those 3 generations, I can see people from each of those 3 almost out of the window of my office here. Some who've been around for a long time and view the world differently. Some very, very new to work, who don't have experience, and you can tell there's a hunger for wanting to sort of improve and learn from what's going on in the office. And everything in between. So I think it's, trying to figure out who really wants it and who's really keen to learn. So I think it's very difficult to teach people things they don't want to hear. So I'm not saying to people, do it this way, this will guarantee you a result. What I'm saying is, this is how I would do it. Yeah. This is how I've got to where I am today. So if you can try and pick something up. So I think it's important for the way that I do things is I try to listen as much as possible and use some of those things to my advantage. I'm not trying to read a book that's going to change my life, but if I read a book, I'm thinking, is there something here that I can put to good use? Yeah. And that's how I'm trying to kind of mentor or teach those around me, which is, look, I'll show you how I would make this call. Do you think that went well? Would that have come across in an email? Would you have picked up, to your point, the information about their kids and what mood they were in and where they're off to this afternoon if you'd have sent an email saying, what's the answer to this question? And so I would say sort of practicing what I preach is how I try to communicate to those people.